Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. There are moments in history and moments in our own lives when it feels like something essential has gone missing. The noise gets louder, the tension gets heavier. The world feels uncertain in ways that are hard to put into words. And in those moments, it can start to feel like something else has faded too. Like kindness is harder to find. Like compassion has taken a step back. Like love itself has somehow dimmed. But there is something important I want to sit with you on today. Not as an idea and not as a hopeful slogan, but as something real. The light didn't go out. It never has, and it never does, guys. It just becomes harder to see when everything around us grows louder. When fear rises, it tends to take up more space. It pulls our attention, it narrows our focus, and it convinces us that what we are seeing is all that exists. But fear is not the whole story. It never has been. Even now, in a time that feels uncertain and heavy in so many ways, there are people choosing kindness. There are people choosing patience. There are people choosing not to add more harm into the world that already has enough of it. You don't always see them on the screen, and you don't always hear about them in the headlines. But they are there, guys. Quietly, consistently, holding something steady beneath everything else. And maybe the reason it feels like the light has dimmed is not because it has disappeared, but because our attention has been pulled somewhere else. It's easy to believe that what is loud is what is dominant, that what is visible is what is most present. But some of the most important things in life have always been quieter. Love is not always loud. Care is not always announced, and compassion does not need an audience to exist. It shows up in ways that are easy to overlook if we're not paying attention. A moment of restraint where anger could have taken over. A conversation where someone chooses to listen instead of react. A person deciding quietly to be gentle in a situation where it would be easier not to be. These moments don't make headlines, but they shape the world just the same. And when you begin to notice them, something inside you begins to shift. The world starts to feel different. Not because everything has suddenly changed, but because you are seeing more of what has been there all along. There is something steady beneath all of this, guys. Something that has existed through every difficult chapter in human history. Through conflict, through uncertainty, through moments that felt overwhelming at the time. And that something is the simple, quiet decision to care. Again and again. Even when it's not easy. Even when it feels like it might not make a difference. Even when it goes unnoticed. Because here is the truth. The presence of fear does not erase the presence of love. they can exist at the same time. And while fear often demands attention, love sustains. It stabilizes. It reminds us who we are when everything else feels uncertain. And maybe that's what this moment is asking of us. Not to ignore what's happening. And not to pretend that everything is okay either. But to remember that even now, with all this, the light is still here. And more than that, you're part of it. Every time you choose patience over reaction, every time you choose understanding over judgment, every time you decide not to pass along the fear that you're feeling, you are keeping that light alive. Not in some abstract way either. In a very, very real one. In the way you speak, in the way you respond, in the way you move through the world. And you may not always see the impact of that. We've talked about that many times. Very often you don't see the impact. You may not always know what difference it makes. But that doesn't mean it isn't making one. Because the world is not only shaped by what is loud, it is shaped by what is consistent, by what is repeated, by what is quietly chosen over and over again. So if things feel heavy right now, if the world feels uncertain, which it sure does to me and so many others, if it feels like something has dimmed, I want you to remember this. The light didn't go out. It's still here, in more places than you might realize, in more people than you might expect, and in you right now, in this moment, waiting to be expressed, not perfectly, not all at once, but in the next small choice that you make. And then the one after that, and the one after that. Because guys, that's how it's always worked. Not through one grand moment, but through countless quiet ones. Threads of care, threads of patience. Guys, threads of love still being woven even now, especially now. I love you guys very, 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 very much, and you know what I need you to do. Go out there and pass that on, okay? Later, Gators. Bye-bye.